everybody. Happy Wednesday afternoon. It is a little after 2. I'm just a few minutes late today. And I was busy working on a project that I'm going to show you. It's not complete, but it's close. So I'll show you that in just a couple minutes. First, I want to show you this. Okay, so on Friday evening, I went live and put together this workshop. And while I was doing the workshop, I had music playing. And Heather messaged me and told me that she couldn't hardly hear my voice because the music was so loud. In my room, it was so soft, I could hardly hear it. So I'm not going to do that music thing anymore, but these workshops take a good 2 to 3 hours, depending on what the special things are. It's a total kit. It comes with pretty much everything you need. And then, it tells you any extras that you need, like, you need a pen and some foam tape and a paper trimmer and scissors, the basic things. And then it goes through the cutting guide. So there was a live Friday night. I went ahead and cut off the live and then went back live again without the music. And it just shows the tail end of me putting these pages together. These pages are gorgeous. They're very cool. And, I've heard from a couple of people now that they've said things like, I don't have farm pictures. I don't live on a farm. I don't have that kind of life. These don't suit me, whatever. So today I thought I'd show you some ideas for using these layouts because the colors are so calm. They're very versatile for different kinds of pictures. And you can tweak these layouts any way you want to leave off the super themed things. So like if you don't want this picture of this farm on here, you put something else there. You put a title, you put a photo, or leave it there. And I'll show you some ideas. Now, the sticker sheet is fairly themed. And so, of course, if you're going to use a windmill or a little truck or whatever, you might think of that as more farmhouse, farm style. And hi, Karen. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Penny. Thank you for watching. So I'm excited to show you some ideas that I had with this because now that I have all these ideas, I've been pulling out this paper and playing with it like crazy. So one of the things that I put in everybody's kit this month is a swatch pack. So I normally put these in little baggies and I ran out of little baggies, so they're loose in your bag. Sorry about that. But it gives you all the colors. I cut down cardstock of all the colors in Close to My Heart World that are current. And you have your front and your backs of each card, so you can put that up to your project and decide like what you like about it. So one of the things about this pack, like this one, for example, okay, it's really fun because it had the zip strips, it had torn paper, it had these die cut clouds. It has a title that they recommended, but you don't have to use that Heart and Home title. And then the only other thing, it says, "You are my home," and this little tree. And so, truly, this could be anything. It could be any pictures of people. You are my home. It could be you and your husband, you and your kids, you and in front of your house. It could be, that can be interpreted a lot of different ways. This could be picnics, family, grandparents, whatever. And one thing that I think is really cool about this paper is it's very neutral. The blue gray in it is neutral. The dark blue is pretty neutral. And so you can put other colors with it and make it something else. So let's say you wanted to use it as birthday or picnic. You could mat your photos in this peach color or in a pink. The lagoon goes with it. Look at the, you know, the glacier. You could use more gray. You could use the brown, pumpkin. So I have a few of these kind of ideas to show you where if you mat your photos in a different color, it changes the whole theme of the whole thing. And maybe you even want to, you know, like change up your thing, like get out your stamps. So I have these old pictures. This is a photograph of all of them, not all, but some of my mom's sisters and brothers. That is my mother right there. And so they're not all there. I can't believe I'm saying that. But, you know, so this could be very heritage. And here they are again. That's my mom. She was one of the youngest. And I thought, you know, this would be really cute to do like a heritage page. One thing that we did when we were growing up is they loved to gather us in front of this house and they would take our pictures. There's me right there. And this is all my cousins. So in other words, we are their kids and we're not all there, you know, but I just thought it would be fun to do a page of, you know, where we're gathered similarly in different generations. I just thought that would be really fun. So this is kind of a cool heritage thing. And this was the homestead where my grandmother, this is my grandmother and my mom, where they lived when they worked on their farm. And so I have these old pictures and these are copies. These are not originals. So I can mess around with these all I want. And I can, you know, mat these in different colors. If I wanted to mat them, you know, in black or in scarlet or, you know, like this darker red would look really cool with some of these photos. See how it makes it kind of pop out a little bit if you mat your photos in different colors. So that's one thing that is nice. You know, Close to My Heart has a custom pack where you can get 12 or 24 and you get 2 of each of whatever colors you want. You pick, you create your pack, but you get 2 sheets of each color you choose. And so it's a nice way to gather up colors that you might use more or you might want in your stash without buying full paper packs. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that is one way to use this paper kit. Now, another way, let me move things out of the way here. What if you wanted to, like this one, for example, it looks very farmish. Oh, I know. Oh my gosh. I tell you what, that's one of the best photos of our family that I have. I don't even think we have other photos of when they're younger that have almost all of them in it. It's missing a couple of people. Because my mom was one of 9, if you can believe that. So her family was kind of big. They had a baseball team. Anyway, so this one I really like because it had these cute little tags. It had the flags. It had the die cut pieces and stickers that you added. It was a very overall basic page. Now, the reason this looks so funny is because I did not put photo mats on here because I wasn't really sure like what photos I was going to use. And I don't like to pen myself in with particular you know, sizes of photos. So, for example, if I was going to use this photo, I would put it right there. You know what I mean? And it would look like all that stuff was coming out of the top. If it was horizontal, it would go like this. So I just didn't put like a photo placeholder on that. But what I like about this is it's not really farm themed. I mean, yes, the paper background is farm themed, but you can cover most of it up. If you left that sticker off right there, I'm not sure it wouldn't be more movie themed, or I don't know. But what I did was, okay, I know you're gonna think I'm nuts, but I cut out a whole bunch of the poinsettias out of this holiday banner set. And I cut out like a lot of the parts and pieces in different colors. And when I do these, I like to, you know, scrunch the petals up to make them just a little dimensional. I cut a few out of white glitter paper. And I thought, okay, now what if I did this? And, you know, put these little, look at these. I cut out some of these little things, tuck those in. I cut out some of these little berries. Maybe I want to put some of the berries. I thought about even using the berries as the center of the flower, but let's just say, see, I have these, I cut out some silver glitter ones, so that might look like the center of the flowers. But, you know, just say I just tuck in a few things here and there and put the Christmassy looking theme with it instead of the stickers or die cuts that came with it. I mean, just, do you see how you can alter this? And I do have, my grandparents were farmers when the kids were really young, and then they bought a gas station with a restaurant in it, and my grandmother cooked. And so I have several pictures of Christmas with all of them at the restaurant, which is kind of a cool thing. So just picture this as a holiday page. When you add the white and the holiday themed accessories, it looks Christmassy. It just does. And on this page, you know, instead of using the little, you know, farm thing, maybe you go ahead and put some of these in place. I have some of the holly leaves. So I'm just saying, this could totally be a really cool Christmassy page. And it would be really nice for, can you see how I've added like mocha and rosemary to the paper, and it looks great. I mean, it really, I did stamp on the light side and the dark side of rosemary, just because I wanted to kind of see how things would look, you know, just a little bit different. So anyway, so that is one idea. And I had where you could add Christmas themed things, right? And suddenly you have yourself a Christmas page or a winter page or whatever. So there's one. Okay, so for the other one, got to get out all my parts and pieces here. This page, to me, isn't exactly farm or outdoor themed either, other than this. And I thought, okay, I'm going to leave that there. I love the addition of the, like, I think that's papaya. Might be paprika. But it's a really nice addition to these colors. It adds just a little bit of that pinky peach color. And then I was like, oh gosh, it says happy place, homegrown happiness, thankful, grateful, blessed. Those things lend themselves to fall. So why don't we do fall? And you remember we made a whole bunch of these pumpkins using that brush, swash brush technique. And so I have a whole bunch of those that we used using that ink technique, right? And so adding pumpkins to this page is really gonna fall it up, right? And the other thing that I have for this page is there's another set called Harvest Blessings, and it's kind of a basic set. It's got cattails, it has a little bit stalks of wheat, and I thought when I bought this, I was like, oh, this is so beautiful. My heart is filled with gratitude. I just thought this would make really nice cards. But I went ahead and I stamped a few wheat stalks to put with my pumpkins. And then I was like, oh, what about this one? Because this one's kind of fun where it has, you know, the basket, and then it has all these things you can put into the basket. And so let me show you what I did with this page. So, all right. So I grabbed pumpkin photo mats, and let's just say I put my pumpkin photo mats down. And remember when I did this page, you may not remember because I deleted that music background video, but when I put stuff on here, I don't always take the adhesive off the back of the foam tape so that I can slip my photo back under there, and then I can peel it off and stick it down after I have everything where I want it. So, okay, so I pumpkin photo mats, right? That is going to look very fallish. And then I have my, you know, wheat stalks. And I have some pumpkins that I can put on the page. Not all, you know, not all of your fall pages need to be orange. I guess that's sort of my takeaway from everything, is that I feel like sometimes I love these browns and blues for fall. The other thing, these baskets are really fun, but it's nice to doll them up a little bit and add some color. So I thought I'd go ahead and color. And then you can either cut a slit in the basket and slide that in, or you can just, you know, cut that off like that and then lay your pumpkins and gourds on top. So let's just say I'm going to fill my basket. I have 2 of them here, and I'm just going to put them in the basket, make it look like it's really, really full. And then that would go here. Cool, right? The other thing I thought, apples, if you go to that Curtis Orchard or any of the apple places, you know, that's a really cool addition. You could do the page using like red mats and do an apple page. So, all right. So before I do want to show you how I colored these. So I want to show you that really quick, and then I'll show you the last page that I made. I am going to use this one for fall. I really love it. And, you know, I have tons of pictures of me and Steve going to the pumpkin patch. Now, it'd be easy to watercolor these because it wouldn't take very long, but I did go ahead and get out my, I have like a gold brown, a yellow, a green, and I got the orange out, but I'm not going to use it for these, and then the apples. So let me show you how I did the apples. I basically, sometimes I like to start with the dark color and just kind of go where I think, like around the edge like this, where I think the darker color would be. And one thing that I did on these to make them look a little more real is I left the highlights. So I'm just gonna, you can see I'm coloring the bottoms and just kind of a little around the top in the darkest color. And then I'm gonna go to a lighter color, and what I want is I want a highlight on the apples. Do you see how I have the white? Now it'd be easy to go in with a gel pen later and just draw that on. But if you don't want to do that, you just color all of it except for a little edge. See, like that one, I probably wouldn't have a highlight. And so I'm going around the edge and then leaving a little bit of white. And then I'm blending into the dark of the apple around the edge and then leaving a little bit around the edge and leaving a little bit. Just like that. And that's how I colored my apples. And of course, you know, the leaves, I like to color in the entire leaf like this. And then I take the darkest color and just kind of, in something this small, you can just do a little swipe. So those stems. So there's my apples. Ta-da! And then, like I said, if you really if you're not great at leaving the highlights, go in with your gel pen and you can add it. See how you can, the main thing is that you make your highlights all coming from the same direction. Like, you don't want to put a highlight here and here because that would mean light is coming from this way and this way. You just want them all on the same side. So it makes it look more real. And then for the basket, I'm just taking this gold brown blend and the darkest color I can put here. Whew, getting high. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go down the centers of this basket and at the edge. Okay, and then take the lighter color, like the mid-tone, and just kind of blend it out a little bit. And if you really think it needs blended even more, you can use the lighter color and just go over the whole thing like this. But if you're gonna do that, you're gonna run out of marker ink a lot faster. And so what I recommend is, like on this one, I stamped it on the darker, you know, you can stamp on the darker side of the paper. So this is the light side. You could stamp it on the darker, and then you already start out with a basket that is dark. And I'm just gonna, I could have slit in this with a knife, but I'm gonna go ahead and just cut it off because it really is pretty easy. You just layer it on there. And if you want tons of apples, you can make more. Like that. So that is how I did my fruit basket. Okay, so let's bring this back in and you can see what I did here. And then I could use the sticker sheet again, and they had some really cool messages that would work just fine. You have gather at home, gather together, the good life, this day, be grateful. I mean, there's a lot of things that you could do. You could put right there, or you could use something from, you know, one of your stamp sets. You could do the gratitude or thankful for, you know, thankful, whatever. And then journaling down here. Isn't that neat? I love this page, you guys. Look at this. It's so cool. And the addition of the, here I used paprika and papaya and pumpkin. These are the colors that I used on the page, and it turned it totally into a fall thing, like a harvest thing almost, you know. So this could be used for anything though. It wouldn't just have to be that. I mean, I was thinking like the pumpkin patch, the Curtis orchard. You could even take pictures of the decorations in front of your house with all the mums and the pumpkins and whatever decorations you put out. You could put that on this page. It could just be people in the fall. So I think that's cool. Okay, let me show you the one that I've been working on. Sorry, I have tons more Christmassy things cut out. So I had leftover pieces of paper after I did the workshop, and you know, you always have a lot of stickers. You saw all the stickers I had left, and you always have a lot of scraps of paper here and there. So I used my stencils and I did the animal print that looks like a giraffe, and I did that in toffee. And then the giraffe itself I did in pumpkin over the top of it. And then I have the little animal footprints in mocha. The whole thing is on shortbread. I just put it on a shortbread background. And then I had this leftover big piece of this brown. The back of that is the, trying to find all the papers in my pile. So this is one side and the other side is this print. So if you didn't want to do zoo or whatever themed, then you could do something in blue. And then I had a lot of the polka dot mocha left, and the other side of that is that like galvanized metal stripe. So I used the browns essentially and a little tiny strip of the stripe. And this is also from the stencil pack. And I'm not done decorating this. I have, I'm considering adding some greenery to this because, wildlife looking, so I haven't finished it yet. But this is what I've been doing with my extra pieces. I want to use it up. I don't want any of it left. I don't want to store a single piece of it. So I'm constantly thinking, what else could I use this for? And since I scrapbook out of order, it's really easy to use the same paper pack for a lot of different things because they'll end up in different books in different places and they'll all look great. It's not like I'll have a whole book of blue and brown. So anyway, this is a Disney thing. So yeah, it needs a hidden Mickey somewhere, doesn't it? Okay, so that's what I have today. I have those pages from the kit, the workshop kit. I'm telling you, this is a gorgeous paper pack, and it's really something that you can customize to whatever you need. So, okay, have a good afternoon. And oh, I will not be live on Friday because I'm out of town for a cross stitch festival. So I will see you live again next Wednesday, but I may post some pictures of some of these finished layouts in between if I can get them all done today and tomorrow. So, all right, see you later. Thanks for watching.